we're heading to the rainforests of Thailand, where a clever matchmaking technique is saving one of our most stunning big cats from extinction, the clouded leopard. They were once common in the rainforests of Southeast Asia, but today, as their habitat is disappearing, only a few thousand remain in the wild, and this elusive cat could soon be extinct. The clouded leopard is one of the most difficult cats to breed in captivity. But here at a breeding project in Khao Kyu, a revolutionary matchmaking program is improving the relationships between their captive cats. Project leader Bill Wood is giving big cat expert Giles Clark an opportunity to get close to these stunning creatures.
They are just so agile, aren't they?
Absolutely.
They're just amazing. So beautiful. Clouded leopards make this extraordinary noise in exactly the same way as what a tiger does. It's called a chuff or a proostin, and it's their way of greeting and showing affection.
Giles's tigers chuff to him as a greeting, but can he chuff back in clouded leopard?
Hello.
They seem to like his chuffing, because this head licking is also a sign of affection.
Hey. Just when you pat them, you can feel just how immensely strong they are. And really, these guys are perfectly adapted for a life in the trees.
Clouded leopards have one of the longest tails in the cat family, giving them exceptional balance. Short, strong legs mean they have a low center of gravity, and their broad, powerful paws are perfectly suited to climbing. They're tailor-made for the rainforest, but that forest has all but disappeared. If we can't breed it in captivity, there's a real danger we'll lose this majestic species forever.
Clouded leopards in captivity are notoriously difficult to breed. Why do you think that's the case?
One of the main problems is male aggression to the females. Some cats, like you'll know, tigers, lions, you can often leave them together and eventually they'll breed. Institutions have tried this and they've put clouded leopards together and come back in the next morning, the female's dead.
Because they are so elusive, no one has ever witnessed how clouded leopards breed in the wild. In the past, attempts by other breeding programs resulted in serious injury to the females. Bill's team is pioneering a new breeding technique, and it's very simple. Instead of introducing male and female leopards to each other when they are sexually mature adults, Bill plays matchmaker and brings them together as cubs.
When we introduce them at such a young age, they get incredibly well bonded together. And as they grow up, there seems to be no real aggression. They love playing together. Because they get on so well, they go on to breed and not have that male aggression problem.
This technique of introducing unrelated male and female cubs at a very young age is known as pair bonding. This bond continues into adulthood, reducing the likelihood of aggression and increasing the chances of successful mating.
How successful is this technique of having cubs?
It's actually incredibly successful. Virtually all the pairs that we put together have gone on and bred successfully.
One of Bill's most effective pairings is Jiao Nai and Maximus.
Really appreciating each other's company, clearly.
Since they were introduced as cubs, these two have parented no less than 3 litters.
Look at that. I mean, you can see how well that pair get on.
Just so affectionate towards one another.
Yeah.
Before this centre was set up, very few clouded leopards were born in captivity. This pioneering program alone has produced 70 cubs.
Might get ambushed again.
Oh.
And these cubs have been sent to zoos all over the world to strengthen the gene pool of this vulnerable species.
They The goal now is to make sure that they stay genetically stable and we have a healthy captive population as a safeguard.
So all this hard work is about trying to create a sustainable population.
Yeah, I mean, look what's happened to some of the tiger subspecies that are now extinct. Maybe if they'd had a core population in captivity, there might be a chance of re-releasing the Javan tiger or something like that. But once they're gone,
they're gone for good. Yeah. Hello. Where did you come from? Hello.
This is the most successful breeding program for clouded leopard anywhere in the world.
Gorgeous. This is truly the most amazing cat experience I've ever had.
With this technique of pair bonding, what was once one of the world's most difficult of breeding programs is now starting to have positive results. And thankfully, the future of this beautiful species is looking a lot brighter. Next, we're heading to the USA, where at Louisville Zoo in Kentucky, alternative medicine is helping to improve a rare pig's relationship issues. Zoologist Lucy Cook is with curator of mammals Jane Ann Franklin to meet the patient who's been suffering from sore knees.
This is Albus.
He's a 6-year-old male called Albus, and he is one of the world's most unusual animals. Albus is a babirusa.
Hello, nice to meet you, sir. You really are an extraordinary looking animal.
Babirusas are probably the oddest looking pigs on the planet, and one of its rarest. They originate from Indonesia, but deforestation and overhunting has decimated the wild population. They are now an endangered species with only 5,000 left in the wild, which is why Jane Ann is keen for Albus to breed.
Can I hand feed him? I can hand feed you. Oh! Just remember to let go of the peanut. This is the way to a babirusa's heart. Hand feeding peanuts. You are extraordinary looking. I don't mean that in a rude way, Albus. I think you're gorgeous.
With his liking for peanuts and his plump posture, it's hard not to fall for this peculiar porker.
Albus has already stolen my heart.
He steals everybody's heart.
Jane Ann doesn't just want this toothy stud to wow the crowds. It's essential that he captures the attention of Patrice, the resident female.
So he's got an important job to do. He needs to help save his species.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Albus is in the SSP, which is the Species Survival Plan, and so he's an important member of that population, and he needed to reproduce.
However, 2 years ago, Jane Ann discovered that Albus was not the fighting fit boar she needed. He had issues with his dainty legs.
They've been causing him problems, right?
Yes. About 1.5 to 2 years ago, he started having some issues, and we started to investigate, and we found that he had a patella that slipped.
As in his kneecap?
Yes.
Yeah. That sounds painful.
Yes.
The pain was clear to see. Albus was limping badly, and it was affecting his chances of breeding.
Being able to be up on his hind legs and have some stamina to mount the female was very important. So that was one of the things we were really looking to fix, was to be able to allow him to breed and breed comfortably.
When you've got an animal like that that's in pain, what do you normally do?
We could have corrected it with surgery, and that would have been the easiest part. The post-operative care would have been very difficult because he would have had to have stayed off his leg for probably 6 to 8 weeks. And he would have had a bandage, and just managing a wild animal in that situation, it just didn't seem like a viable way for us to go. So we looked into alternatives.
They turned surprisingly to acupuncture. Dr. Carrie McManus, a local vet, had successfully used it on other animals that were suffering from inflamed joints and arthritis, and was convinced this alternative treatment could help Albus. Needles are carefully placed into the skin where it's thought they trigger a tiny response that relieves pain and stimulates the healing process. Carrie's been treating Albus every fortnight for the last 11 months, and today is his latest session.
Stacy, if you would let Albus in. Albus!
He clearly trusts Carrie, in spite of her needles, because he takes no time to assume the position.
Good boy.
When Carrie inserts the first needle into Albus, he becomes motionless.
So I just insert it a little bit, and then we kind of push the needle in just a little bit more. Once it's seated, what we call needle grab, then I'll twist it both directions, which allows the underlying cells to grab the needle.
This has got to be one of the most peculiar things I have ever seen. It's like he's aware that something's happening, but it doesn't look like he's in any kind of pain. He gets this kind of quiet, still look in his eyes, and he seems to be happy.
Carrie doesn't just treat Albus as a piggy pincushion. She knows precisely where to put each needle.
So I basically did a lot of research online trying to map out his anatomy and physiology of where vessels run, nerves run, how his muscles actually go, so that I could actually adjust the acupuncture points to best fit his anatomy.
Albus has just made a smell.
Yes.
He has.
A lot of these back points will also stimulate not only treating muscle pain, but they will stimulate his colon and large intestinal tract.
Albus, shift.
When the treatment is over, Albus emerges seemingly pain-free. The ultimate proof that Carrie's acupuncture was working recently came into the world.
What a peanut!
Her name is Babs.
Probably wouldn't be here if Albus hadn't had the acupuncture.
The future of the captive Babirusa population is looking very healthy, if not a little mischievous.
How does it make you feel to see them here today?
It's awesome. It's very rewarding. It's a highlight of my career to have these guys here and to be able to share them with everybody and to be able to show them off, so to speak.
What would you say to people who are skeptical about acupuncture?
Don't knock it till you try it. Albus doesn't know that it's acupuncture, and it works for him, so.
And he's not the only one. Carrie is also using acupuncture to treat animals of all sizes, from an Indian elephant to a pygmy goat. Next, we're in Kenya to meet Zachariah Muta, who for the last 6 years has been looking after an extremely important elderly rhino. Sudan is the only male northern white rhino left on Earth. With a maximum lifespan of 50 years, at 42, he's the equivalent of an 80-year-old man.
I feel very close to Sudan. He's my closest friend. We don't want him to get extinct. So I really take very great care of him.
All the world's 5 species of rhinos are under threat from poachers, but none more so than the northern white. They are completely extinct in the wild. There are now only 3 left in captivity: Sudan and 2 females. These last survivors are highly protected at the Old Pejeta Conservancy in Kenya. On the black market, rhino horn is now more valuable than diamonds, so the trio are under 24-hour armed guard.
This is Sudan.
Conservationist Giles Clark has come to meet Zachariah in Sudan.
He's the last of his kind. Must feel like an awful lot of responsibility taking care of Sudan.
We really love him very much, so we really take care of him just like elderly people.
Wild male rhinos can be aggressive, but Sudan is used to his human protectors and is approachable when Zachariah is nearby.
He knows you very well.
Yeah, rhinos, they have got very good sense of smell and hearing, so they can recognize a keeper and a newcomer.
Okay.
Yeah,
So he knows the difference between us.
Yes,
He's not quite sure of me yet, but you're definitely a friend.
yes. That's what makes me feel happy to be so close to Sudan.
The phrase "last chance to see" is often overused, but in this case, it could be true. Sudan spent most of his life in a Czech Republic zoo. He was part of a captive breeding program including the 2 females, Najin and Fatu. After 9 years of failed breeding attempts, in an ambitious last-ditch effort, they were airlifted to Africa and returned to their natural habitat in the hope they would reproduce. Richard Vine is CEO of the Conservancy.
All of them, their condition improved sort of almost overnight. So their toenails got better and stopped cracking, and their skin condition looked better. So it was obviously something that suited them about coming back to Africa.
Sudan, the only one of the trio to have been born in the wild, had a new lease of life among the other rhinos in the reserve.
He established a territory, he fought with other males in the area when he first came here. He's acted as a territorial male and he's mated, but he's never successfully got females pregnant.
Over the next 6 years, hopes that Sudan could help save his kind began to fade. As he got older, the young females began to bully him. So Sudan was moved into a retirement paddock on his own, where he now depends on Zachariah and his team for everything.
He's going blind in one eye. He's struggling to walk. So his relationship with people like Zach and other keepers is fundamentally important for his welfare. He's old. He relies upon them for his food and for company. It's enormously important.
Despite his ailments, Sudan is not in pain and has all the food, comfort, love and support an old man needs in his final years.
I better die first before Sudan. Yeah, because I don't want to lose him. I'll feel so sad. I'll feel so sad.
It's completely obvious just what a close bond Zach and Sudan have. Sudan's welfare and his psychological needs are being met by this special friendship. Tragically, at 42, Sudan's breeding days are now over. As things stand, he will be the last male northern white rhino to walk on Earth.
It's so amazing but so sad because he's too old enough, but we still had hope that he can still exist. He looks very healthy, he's in good condition, so he might live after 50.
However long Sudan has left, it's obvious that this gentle giant could not be more loved.
He's a good boy. Wow. Look at the size of that mouth. It's amazing to be this close. Such a handsome boy. I've got no idea just how significant you are.
However, there is a glimmer of hope. These rhinos are the focus of pioneering scientific endeavor, which has been used successfully with a giant panda. Existing frozen northern white rhino sperm could still be used to save the species, but the clock is ticking. Rhinos have existed for 40 million years, but it's only in the last 100 years that we have been responsible for their tragic demise. "2,000 miles away, in a secret location in South Africa, there is some encouraging news about our relationship with the southern white rhino. This is Ike. He was left for dead after poachers attacked him and removed his horn. Vet Herat Steenkamp was first on the scene.
It's quite obvious that he was a fighter. He wanted to live. And just like in humans, I think that makes a huge difference. If you have a patient that is willing to fight.
Since then, Herat and his team of vets have struck up a remarkable relationship with Ike. The biggest challenge was making sure Ike's wound did not get infected and healed as soon as possible. So they needed a really heavy-duty dressing that would stay on the end of a rhino's face. 8 days ago, Herat sedated Ike and attached a state-of-the-art fiberglass dressing to his wound. Biologist Patrick Ie has joined Ranger Steve Dell to try and get a close look at the patient. He's a wild animal, so they have to be careful. As they enter the enclosure, Ike is on the far side. Any fears that Steve had that Ike was not on the mend quickly disappear as Ike's 2.5-ton bulk stirs from his slumbers.
We are going to have to go out.
Steve is concerned about their safety, and they make a rapid exit to the other side of the fence. Ike certainly seems to have recovered well.
It's okay, you coming to say hello, my boy? There's a good boy. Easy, my boy.
Look how magnificent he is. He's huge.
He's coming, he's coming.
They get a good look at Herat's handiwork.
That's it. I can see it's fraying a little bit, but it's still on, which is a good sign. The longer it stays on, the better, I'm sure, in terms of the healing process. He is going to be a survivor, for sure.
The dedication of Herat and his team has paid off, but tragically, Ike is unlikely to be their last patient. The rhino poaching crisis has reached a tipping point. Now, for the first time, more rhinos are being killed than are being born. These are 3 of the most recent casualties: PJ, Lizzie, and Monty. They're all orphans, but thanks to Amy Coy, they still have a chance.
It's heartbreaking, and it makes me angry that we can't protect the animals, that we cannot stop a young rhino from losing its mother. It's terrible. It makes you angry and it makes you sad at the same time. I get very emotional.
Amy's plan is to raise them at her farm until they are old enough to go to a reserve where they will get the protection they need. In the meantime, they seem pretty happy with their lot.
PJ, Monty, come. Come. Come, you want milk? Come. Come, let's go get milk. Come. Boys, come, come.
Baby rhinos use this high-pitched squeak to communicate with their mum. And they don't hesitate to let their human mum know when they are peckish. The babies here drink 15 litres of milk twice a day. Patrick's feeding 4-month-old Lizzie.
Come, PJ.
And do I have to squeeze it as she's suckling?
No, she'll suck.
She'll suck it
all
up.
by herself, yeah.
Wow. You are a hungry girl, aren't you? It's remarkable to think that this whole poaching crisis comes down to this right here. The rhino horn is made out of keratin, the same material that horses' hooves are made out of, and even our fingernails. So really, it is worthless.
There is no doubt that we are responsible for the plight of this majestic animal. Thanks to Zachariah, Herat, and Amy, there are at least some rhinos that are safe for now. If we can save this iconic species, then there may be hope for the many other endangered animals with which we share the planet. But first, we're in Limpopo, South Africa's most northern province. Here, an incredible love story is unfolding between 2 very different lions. Zukara, who lives here at the Sow Conservancy, and Cleopatra, who used to live on the other side of the fence. Now they're going to meet face to face for the very first time. A week ago, ecologist Jason Turner organized for Cleopatra to be transferred into the reserve after years of extraordinary behavior from the 9-year-old lioness.
She was obsessed with wanting to join the pride of lions on this side. So She was at the fence line every day. She swam across a river, climbed under an electric fence in order to bond with our male.
The male who'd caught Cleopatra's attention wasn't just any lion. It was Zucara, one of just 12 white lions left in the wild. A very rare change in their DNA causes their splendid color. And it sadly meant that white lions have been hunted almost to extinction. For 5 years, Cleopatra had appeared every day at the fence of Zucara's reserve, obsessively waiting to see him. Lionesses generally mate with the male who's the head of their own pride, normally a big, dark-maned male. Jason, who has worked with lions for 20 years, has never seen a lioness go to such lengths to communicate her feelings for a male who was completely out of her reach.
This obsessive behavior, going up and down the fence line, putting on seductive moves like you've never seen. Lots of tail swishing. The lionesses will roll over. They've got this white, sort of very sexy belly that they flash at the males. Lionesses are arch seducers. I mean, seduction was invented by lionesses.
Today, we're hoping to see some unique lion behavior. Zucara and Cleopatra are going to meet face to face for the very first time. Lion introductions can be extremely unpredictable. So Zucara has been kept away from her in a separate enclosure to allow Cleopatra to get used to her new surroundings and bond with resident lioness Swalu. Now the team are opening the gate to release Zucara back into the 4,000-acre reserve. Biologist Patrick Aye has joined Jason to see if Zucara picks up Cleopatra's scent.
We found Zucara. Oh my goodness. Oh, listen to that.
So you can see he hasn't wasted any time. He's doing what we expected him to do, and that's the natural male response. He's picking up the chemical signals, the pheromones, from where Cleopatra scent marked. And that grimace, what he's doing is, it's called phlegmon. And he's picking up the scent.
So he knows that she's here.
He knows that she's here. And it looks to me like he's figuring out which way she's gone.
Scent markings aren't the only way lions communicate with each other. On the other side of the reserve, the lionesses are on the move. Cleopatra's out in front, picking up Zucara's calls. This communication is a good sign. But this is a love story that could end in tears. Like all lions, Zucara and Cleopatra are powerful creatures. Males in particular can be extremely aggressive to outsiders. So even lion expert Jason doesn't know exactly what's going to happen when Zucara and Cleopatra meet.
Lions are very fiery animals. They can be very aggressive. Of course, they're fierce hunters, predators, and the males are incredibly territorial. So bringing two adult lions together, there's always going to be fireworks.
Lionesses often have to work together to defend themselves from other lions. And Jason is hoping that resident female Swalu will help Cleopatra if things turn nasty with Zucara. As the sun sets, it looks like Zucara and Cleopatra could meet at night. It's vital the team witness this first encounter, because how they interact will show if they have a future together. So the team are going to try to stick with Zakara throughout the night.
Got full signal on Zakara.
A full signal from Zakara's radio collar means he's within 10 meters of the truck.
Here he comes, here he comes.
It seems he's definitely on the move and on the hunt for Cleopatra. Lions have their own distinctive roars, as unique as our fingertips. And there's no doubt Cleopatra will be hearing these calls. An hour later, Zakara appears by the fence, and he's not alone.
My goodness.
Just in front of him are Swalu and Cleopatra. After 5 years, Zakara and Cleopatra are finally face to face. Swalu hangs back.
They're so tentative. That was so electric.
How amazing is that?
He came in for them almost, but they both instantly were like, no, don't try and mess with us at all. We mean business.
Their encounter ends with a final scent spray from Zakara. It's one of many signs that he's receptive to Cleopatra's presence.
Never seen anything quite like it.
That was really exciting. I'm still pretty shaky.
I mean, it happened all within a split of a second, and you got these two strong, powerful lions, Cleopatra and Zakara, but no one was doing any damage, it seemed.
Exactly. Heated engagement, but you could see more bark than bite. No excessive use of violence, really. More just demanding respect from each other.
Their non-aggressive calls and lack of violence are signs that as first dates go, this has been a roaring success. Zakara made a beeline for Cleopatra, and in a dramatic act of loyalty, Swalu rushed in to back her up. Together, they stood their ground, with Zakara adopting a position behind the bush, which shows his respect for newcomer Cleopatra. These are all positive signs for a future relationship between them.
This is exactly what you've been waiting for 5 years.
I'm ecstatic. Bungee jumping's got nothing in terms of the adrenaline that I'm feeling right now.
I'm feeling it too,
Those sounds were just phenomenal.
After just a week and no longer separated by a fence, Zakara and Cleopatra are spending most of their time together. Their phenomenal story has given us new insight into the lengths a lioness will go to communicate with the male she wants. Back in the UK, Birdland in Gloucestershire is home to Britain's only breeding programme for endangered king penguins. Here, one man has been on an extraordinary mission to try and teach a penguin how to swim.
Hello.
Zoologist Lucy Cook is joining head keeper Alistair Keane with very special penguin Charlotte.
Our 14-month-old king penguin.
Hello, Charlotte. Nice to meet you.
Charlotte had an unusual start in life.
She was laid as an egg last year by Frank and Lily, and within 24 hours Frank had dropped and broken the egg. So we had to take the egg away and repair it with a little bit of super glue.
Wow, you can do that?
Yeah.
You can repair an egg with super glue?
Yeah, as long as it's not too big a crack.
If penguin parents drop an egg, they tend to abandon it. So Charlotte became Alistair's responsibility.
I like to talk to the egg because the parents would call to the chick.
Do you talk to it in a human voice or in a penguin?
I just talk to it as I normally would, like I'm talking to you now. So sort of, keep going, chick, I'll see you soon, and things like that.
Aww.
Sounds really silly, I know.
When birds hatch from their egg, they form an immediate bond with the first living creature they see. It's known as imprinting. The first thing Charlotte saw wasn't her mum, it was Alistair.
As far as she's concerned, I'm mum and dad. She's got to give me grandchildren, so to speak, in the next few years.
By 6 months, Charlotte was fully grown, with a thick coat of brown downy feathers perfectly adapted to keep her warm as she developed.
That's her begging for you, isn't it? She's going, Dad, feed me, feed me.
Come and give me some more food.
And like any typical king penguin chick, at 12 months, Charlotte's coat molted, and she started to transform into the stunning adult she is today.
All right, Charlotte. So I think you're getting 5 stars as a penguin parent, from what I can see.
Yeah, we got so far so good. And then we hit a snag in the fact that she just would not go in the pool.
Oh no, but she's a penguin.
I know, everyone would think they'd take to it really easily, but she was having none of it. She'd watch everyone else going for a swim. She would not go in.
Despite Alistair's best efforts, Charlotte could not be coaxed into the water. What was going on? In the wild, it's very important that king penguin chicks avoid water while they're still wearing their brown coat of baby feathers. It's warm, but it's not waterproof. So if it gets wet in the icy waters of the Antarctic, the chicks can drown or die of hypothermia. Only when they get their waterproof adult plumage do they pluck up the courage to take the plunge. What surprised Alistair was that although Charlotte's body was fully equipped to swim, her mind was clearly saying no. Perhaps penguin expert Professor Rory Wilson can shed light on Charlotte's strange behaviour.
Rory, are you surprised by Charlotte's fear of water?
A bit surprised, but not hugely. It's a big deal if you're a penguin, from being a woolly, fluffy thing that lives on land, and there's this terrible transition period where you have to do it. It's like bungee jumping. So I think there's a lot of fear there.
So what do the parents do in terms of encouraging them into the water?
They're brutal. It's tough love and it's do or die. The king penguin chicks, they actually go through the whole winter starving. They'll get the odd meal from their parents. They'll go down to about 7 kilograms, really, really thin and miserable.
It's hunger that drives young penguins to overcome their fears and into the sea to catch fish. But Alistair wasn't prepared to take this tough love approach with Charlotte. He'd have to find another way to get her to swim.
First thing we tried to do is push her in. And she jumped straight back out, had none of that.
No matter how hard he tried, it became clear that gentle persuasion wasn't going to work. Alistair had to resort to more dramatic methods.
We've got a rock in the middle of the pool. I took her and sat her on the rock, so she had to get wet to get back out.
After hours of intense encouragement, Charlotte decided to take control of her fear.
It's the only time I've ever seen a king penguin with both feet off the ground. She went in feet first. Almost a cannonball.
Alistair and Charlotte had cracked it. And once she was in the water, Charlotte's instinct to swim kicked in. 4 months later on, thanks to Alistair's coaching, Charlotte loves nothing more than a dip in the pool.
She's getting very good now. She's the first one in there most days, last one out.
You're a proud dad.
Proud dad, yeah.
10,000 miles away on the other side of the planet, in the eucalyptus forests of Queensland, Australia, conservationists are harnessing the power of communications technology originally designed for the military. They're trying to save an iconic species that us humans are putting under huge pressure: the koala. Deforestation isn't just wiping out animals in remote places like the Amazon. It's also happening in towns and cities, like this one, Brisbane. Conservationist Giles Clark is meeting a recent victim of the rapid urban expansion here in Queensland, where the koala population has plummeted by 40%.
You can really feel how sharp those claws are. There you go, back.
Koalas like Rocket are coming under threat as new roads, and most recently a railway line, are slicing through the ancient eucalyptus forests they live in. Now a team of conservationists is coming to the rescue of the small koala population that's still clinging on. They have fitted over 200 koalas with sophisticated satellite trackers. It's a pioneering new technique which is having a remarkable impact. This technology allows the team, led by Tosh Tucker, to pinpoint the location of every koala and easily find and capture individuals to monitor their health in a way they never could before.
We're going to go look for Gonzo today. He's,
Gonzo?
Yeah. He's one of our little boys on this site. So what am I do? Here's our site here.
Wow, and each one of those little blue dots is a koala.
That's right.
That is truly incredible. And is it real time?
There's a slight lag, but there's every 4 hours we get a transmission.
It only takes a few seconds to find Gonzo's name on the map, and he looks dangerously close to the road.
So that little spot
so
there,
this is him then, by the looks of it?
That's Gonzo, yep.
And hence this big highway is what we can hear over the back.
Exactly, yeah. Once we get an idea of where he is, I'll put his frequency in and we can pinpoint exactly where he is and makes it a lot easier to find.
Using a handheld receiver, the team are able to pick up Gonzo's frequency almost immediately, and they set off to find him.
Sounds like he's just in this patch here.
Start looking up?
Yep. Ah, there he is, mate. Just look in that vine near the acacia, and he's just sitting in
yeah, I got him.
In that fork there. Yeah. Let's do it.
With Gonzo located, Tosh calls in his team. The plan is to get Gonzo down to check his radio collar and to give him a thorough health check.
Right, B, I'm just going to get down to that lateral.
In close-knit koala communities, diseases can quickly spread and wipe out entire groups.
Nice and easy.
It's vital the team can make sure every koala is in the best health possible if this population is to survive.
All right, mate. Grab him, man. All right, Giles. Come in there, mate. Just put him under the bottom there.
Hello, little fella.
A handful of fresh leaves and Gonzo's ready for his checkup, which each koala gets twice a year.
He's loving it. Yeah, it'll calm him right down. He's happy as Larry.
Veterinarian Dr. John Hanger has been treating koalas for over 20 years. Back at his surgery, Gonzo is sedated.
Give him a once over, hey?
First, John checks Gonzo's heart.
Sounds good.
Next, he checks Gonzo's sharp teeth are all present and correct. Then on to his all-important tracker collar.
So just make sure there's plenty of growing space in there because the youngsters are growing rapidly, so we need to make sure that this doesn't get too tight.
Then he takes a look at his feet.
They're great big blistered. That's not normal.
No, okay.
Just get a photo of that.
Gonzo's blistered foot is nothing serious, but even so, John will keep a record of it. Finally, he uses an ultrasound to scan Gonzo's kidneys, stomach, and bowel to check he is processing all that eucalyptus properly.
So there's the bladder there, the black structure there. Okay, you can see the fermenting parts of the bowel.
Eucalyptus is poisonous to many animals and impossible for them to digest. But koalas have a special bacteria in their stomach that can break it down. This movement is a sign that all is well with Gonzo.
They really are just leaf processing machines, really.
They certainly are.
He's really starting to wake up. I think we should think about getting him back into that forest.
Gonzo's been given a clean bill of health. But John isn't going to return him to just any old tree. Until they are 2 years old, koalas like Gonzo prefer to be close to their mums. And using the satellite technology again, John can track down Gonzo's mum.
We'll just scan down here to find her name. So these are all the koalas with those special collars on.
Her name is J'adore, and with a click of his mouse, he has found her.
Okay, so she's hanging around here at the moment. This tells us that the last upload from her collar was 5 hours ago. So with a bit of luck, she'll still be at that point, or if she's not there, hopefully she'll be fairly close, but we'll be tracking her with the conventional telemetry gear as well to make sure that...
To really hone in on the spot.
That's right.
This technology, it's incredible, the access that it's given you and the information.
Yeah, it's allowing us to monitor the koalas far more intensively than we could have otherwise, and that means that we can intervene much more quickly if they get into trouble.
Gonzo has just recovered from his anesthetic, and the team are off to track down his mum and set him free.
Sort of getting the strongest signal from
around this area
sort of area.
Is that her? A koala in a tree?
Well done, Giles.
Yeah,
I think that is her.
Yeah, right up here.
Gonzo's mum is spotted, and he's released back to a tree nearby. Gonzo steps out tentatively at first, but he is soon back in the swing of things.
Off he goes. He's not hanging around.
So far, with the help of this communication technology, the team have helped protect over 400 koalas. The hope is that this technique could one day be rolled out across Australia to help protect the 100,000 koalas who live in the wild.